like that. I haven't done that before in the PlayStation 4. Anyway, we're back online. We're switching over games to switching over to Abzu, which is a really cool sort of underwater marine sciencey game. I beat this game earlier today, but there's still some exploring and things to do. I don't know if I don't think there are any viewers at the moment, so I don't have too much opportunity to get any feedback, but if someone wants to see it from the beginning, I can play it like that, but I think I'm just going to go around and try to collect some of the collectibles that I haven't gotten yet. So we're going to go over to Chapter 3. The loading screens in this game can feel pretty long. I imagine maybe if you have the PS4... I don't know, I can't even remember what the new model is called anymore. I imagine if you have that one, it probably loads a bit faster, but it's alright. It's nothing to worry about. I feel like it's worth the wait. This game is very charming, I guess. Sort of swimming around, checking out new animals. Since I have a master's degree in marine biology, it makes this game very relatable for me. Though I can't scuba dive. Thank you, sinuses. I do love snorkeling, though. It's always cool when you open the little portal things in the ground and the fish that I recognize, having seen snorkeling myself, comes out. Always makes it a bit more interesting. So this is Chapter 3. As I said, I've already completed this game, so now I'm just kind of going through and looking for some of the collectibles that I haven't found. Like there are these meditation spots where you can look at the different fish that are found in the area you're in. It's funny because you get, manatees right here, these big sea cows, and let's see, some sharks. A lot of these organisms actually don't live in the same regions. Like at some point you find killer whales, which interestingly enough are actually dolphins, and those are only found really in Arctic regions, but you find them in this game swimming around reef type organisms. And reef ecosystems as a whole can only exist near the equator because they require a lot of heat and constant light, because corals are photosynthetic. This is where I came from. Yes, when I did my master's degree in marine biology, it was focused on corals. Unfortunately, it's been about a year since I graduated. I haven't used it too much, so a lot of the little details about fish and other interesting organisms I've kind of forgotten, but I'm going to try to refresh myself every now and then just to stay up to date. The robots themselves, I don't believe, are collectibles. It's really the meditation spots, the little shells, and the holes in the ground that cause different fish to spawn. I haven't looked up a video as to their location yet. I know that they exist. I might as well try to find them myself first anyway. Went through and got all the other sort of hidden achievements. A lot of them take place in the last chapter of the game. It's actually really cool. One of the hidden items in this level, this fish right here, this big guy, weird looking thing, is a sunfish. These are actually really cool. What they'll do during the day is they'll go up to the surface of the water and then lie horizontally flat, and birds will land on their side and eat the parasites off the side of their body. It's really cool. An interesting fish. I've never seen one in the water myself. They're pretty rare. Although if you go to some areas of like the Bahamas, they're supposed to be common. I don't know. I've never had that experience with them. Anyway, these little shelled guys here. There's one of the collectibles is in here. I've already picked it up though. These little shelled guys are called nautiluses. I believe they're somewhat related to the ammonites and things like that are now extinct. Obviously, this wasn't my area of study, so I don't know too much about them. I've never seen a nautilus in the water. I think they're supposed to be pretty rare. Whereas ammonites and the other organisms like that are already extinct. Now this shark is a zebra shark. It's one of the ones you let out of the holes in the ground. They're very distinguishable because of the spots in their body and the shape of their tail. I feel like this game's pretty accurate, but the tail of the zebra shark, I feel like in real life, actually looks even more sort of unique and extreme than it does in this game, which is interesting. I've only actually ever seen a zebra shark in the Atlantis Aquarium in the Bahamas, in Nassau. I don't believe that they're really overly common anywhere in the world. Let's see. I believe there's one shell that I don't have here. I can't say whether or not it's in this particular area, but it doesn't hurt to go looking around. There's a shortage of cool stuff to look at. Male California sheephead right there. That red one with the black stripe near its head and tail. The female is actually very similar looking, but it doesn't have a black stripe. Whereas you have some kelpfish mixed in with the sort of orangey yellow fish. That blue one there, in real life they're actually pretty black. Those are spotted eagle rays. I've seen them both in Belize and in the Bahamas. They're very cool. They're a ray, so they're a cartilaginous fish, and they, unlike stingrays, don't plant themselves underwater or under sand to camouflage. They swim in the water column. Stingrays aren't overly abundant in this game, which is surprising. There are manta rays. Obviously it's a bit more characteristic. When you see a manta ray, you kind of know, oh, that's a manta ray. Whereas the southern stingray and other things like that, I guess, are relatively boring when you're comparing them side by side. Quite a few areas of turning these big wheels to cause chains to move. I'm a bit confused by the movement of the chains themselves. You turn the knob here and the chain starts feeding out, but you would assume if the door is going to open that when you turn the chain it should be pulling the chain, not letting it out. So, some jacks and trevallies in there. I don't know if there were any trevallies in that particular school. There were some jacks. Jacks are a member of the Carangidae family. The way you can remember that is, it's spelled with a G, but it makes the J sound. Jacks, Carangidae, whatever. Tricks for remembering the families if you are ever required to learn them yourself. Butterflies fish are Chaetodontidae, angelfish, Acanthuridae. I believe damselfish or Pomacentridae. It's pretty cool. I actually put a lot of thought into the details here. These are feather dusters. They're a kind of worm, and when you swim up to them, they pull inside. This is what happens in the real world when you swim up next to them too and move your hand here. That's really cool. They have some tube worms and things like that in other parts of the maps too. These are always fun to mess with. They leave their feather things out like that because they catch microbial organisms almost like a net that they can eat. But obviously they pull it in when there's a predator or some sort of source of harm to them, so as to avoid damage. Now, you'll see that little version, it almost looks like a spotted eagle ray. I'm sort of following it right now. Hi! Thanks for joining. I'm just kind of messing around in this game. I really like marine biology, so it's fun to kind of explore. Now, that other little ray, lost it. It's a kind of eagle ray, it's not the spotted eagle ray. And I feel like I've seen those in the water too, and like in this game, they are considerably smaller than the spotted eagle ray. There's still some fish that I have to kind of unlock in this game by finding these little holes in the ground. Now if they're lit up blue, it means I've already found it before. And once you activate that, a new fish will spawn in the game, and you can kind of look at it and check it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, of course. Of course you can send a friend request. That particular hole in the ground there spawned lionfish, which you can see right here. They are found in the Caribbean. They're actually very common in the Caribbean now. They were invasive species from Asia, meaning someone had one as a pet and let it out. The problem is, in Asia these fish have predators, but in the Caribbean there's no natural predator to these organisms, and they're an apex predator. So they actually eat pretty much any fish they'll encounter in the Caribbean, and there's almost no fish or anything to take care of or limit the population growth of the lionfish. So it's actually a pretty serious problem. A lot of places in the Bahamas and even like Key West will promote these big hunts for lionfish because they wipe out entire populations of fish and nothing can regulate their hunt. So instead we go in and start wiping out as many of them as we can, because ideally they wouldn't be there in the first place. Like I said, they're an invasive species. Thanks for the friend request. I'll be sure to apply. My name on PlayStation is pretty stupid. It's not WowJNasty like my Twitch name, but I'll be sure to accept once I'm done streaming tonight. I lost control of my camera for some reason. Let's see what's going on. Really wants me to look at those little guys there. Actually, not entirely sure what I'm looking at. There's the great white. Would not want to be in the water with one of those, but fortunately we are in a game. Of course, one of the most common places that people go to find great whites, if you're into Shark Week or anything like that, there's a place off the coast of southern Africa where they're really common. This is only a single-player game. If you have a PlayStation Plus, this is one of the free games this month, actually. This and the Telltale Borderlands game. So throughout the game, you kind of enter these big open areas where, unfortunately, this is kind of what being under the water looks like now in the Caribbean for the most part. It's not really vibrant all over, which kind of sucks. Although, Caribbean doesn't really have these giant kelp forests like you see in this game, but a lot of the coral's overgrown with algae. It's not really as bright and colorful as it once was. Of course, I mean, I say like I saw it myself, but that was really before. That was really before I was even snorkeling or scuba diving. Excellent. Yeah, it's really fun. It's mostly an exploration game. You could run through it really quick if you wanted to, but it's always fun to kind of take your time and look around. There's a lot of really cool fish and environments to check out. Like I said though, if you have PlayStation Plus, it's a free game to download for this month. I just played it all the way through today, and now I'm just sort of going back and seeing anything that I missed. So there's this story isn't very, well, I would say it's not very well explained. There almost is no story, but there kind of is. Anyway, your character has the ability to sort of revitalize the ocean, and that area that was once dark and dying, we're able to bring life to it. And it's really cool because when you do that, a lot of new fish start to spawn. I believe here we have the whale shark, which is a shark. It's not a whale. So whale sharks are not mammals. They're carnivorous sharks. But they don't eat large fish. They eat plankton and microorganisms, kelp. Not kelp, krill, that sort of thing. Almost like a whale. It is a shark. They have about 4,000 teeth in their mouth, but they're very small. They often swim with their mouths open, but they're filter feeders almost. They just swim through the water, and whatever ends up in their mouth ends up in their mouth. They'll very rarely go after a fish. Got some barracudas. Let's see. They have eyes on the sides of their head, and their mouth is very wide and open. See how it is right there? Sorry, okay. What are you asking about the whale shark? I'd be happy to answer if I know the answer. See, it's got a very wide open mouth. The game starts with you just kind of being in the ocean. It doesn't really tell you where you need to go, but there are hints, like you just kind of follow the fish. It's general rule of thumb, just follow the fish. But you're just kind of in the ocean, and then you start exploring. The first objective is to kind of look for these little robot guys. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but that's the first thing you do. There are a few robots. They're not like hidden collectibles or anything. You kind of have to get them to progress with the story. Something else we see here, they look almost green. You can kind of try to follow it with my camera. Is the barracuda. When you're snorkeling in the Caribbean, barracudas are common. You'll see them all over the place. They're not green like they are in this game. They're very silver, and if they're down far enough, like 25 feet, they'll actually look more black than anything because their scales do a very good job of sort of keeping them hidden. Yeah, good. I think you'll have a lot of fun playing. But yeah, it's a lot of exploration. This big coral head pops up out of the thing when you do the story part. Got some triggerfish right here. There are different variants of triggerfish, but they all have this body shape. Kind of hard to tell what I'm looking at here, but the white fish with the black and yellow areas. Triggerfish are also really cool. They'll go up towards the surface and lay on their sides and sort of sun themselves. If you're into marine biology, if you have a Wii, there's a game called Endless Ocean that allows you to swim around and kind of learn about hundreds of different fish. It's really cool. There's very little in the way of story, but it is, again, kind of like this game, really more about the exploration. I would say yes to the party, but chances are when I bring this down, I'm probably going to go to bed. I'm on the East Coast. Your name says Cali Buzz. You might be over on the West Coast. It's already 12:30 for me, so yeah, it's kind of getting up there. Let me go ahead and go to another chapter, just so we're not doing any sort of story stuff, since you're going to be starting the game here soon. I don't want to ruin anything for you. It's going to kind of do some exploration. But I'm definitely available to play games whenever I'm online. You know, sent me a friend request, so that'll work. The loading screens, like I said earlier, are kind of long, but I want to say it's worth it because, you know, this game's got a lot of cool stuff to look at. Got some more feather dusters here. In real life, you just kind of move your finger toward them and they pull in just like that. It's really fun. You find them near coral reefs. They tend to grow in areas where the coral itself is died. The worm will nestle its way into cracks and holes in the calcium carbonate that makes up the coral. Awesome. Yeah, you should start it up. It's really fun. It's not a super long game, but it's fun nonetheless. This is very cool that there's a blue whale. I must say, if I saw one in real life, I would freak out. Not because blue whales are aggressive to humans or anything like that. They're baleen whales, if I'm not mistaken, which means that they filter feed krill. They don't actually have teeth that bite things. But they're just so giant. It's like mind-boggling to imagine yourself next to something so big. Now we've got the sperm whale here. Actually, yes, that's a sperm whale, or is that the blue whale? Or no, we just saw a blue whale. That is a humpback whale. Nice. Yeah, if you need any pointers or anything, I can show you what you're supposed to do, but I imagine you'll be able to do it. There's not too much to this game in terms of difficulty. It's mostly just exploring at your leisure. We're going down to the abyss. If you were a real person, you would not survive anywhere close to this depth. As you go down in water, pressure increases, and you would actually be crushed. But in this game, we're okay. You don't even have an air bar in this game. You're kind of like a little robot guy, so you're alright. So when I first played this game, I thought it might be like I was free diving, which is essentially when you're snorkeling, but you just hold your breath a long time and stay down for a few minutes and then come back up. But nah, you don't have to worry about that. There's some horseshoe crabs. It never draws much attention to the horseshoe crab, but there's one. Most people think of a squid. This is what comes to mind. When organisms are camouflaging themselves or mimicking other organisms, they'll very often light up white like you see this guy do when he's getting ready to hunt an organism down. If you want to see like the sort of ultimate master of camouflaging in the ocean, you gotta look up a mimic octopus. They aren't in this game, but just a really cool organism. Added the anglerfish. Something interesting about the anglerfish, if you ever see, like, this is what you think of when you see an anglerfish. They got the little sort of ball of light on their head. It's kind of like a fatter body. That's actually the female. The male is about 100th or 1,000th. It's very small of the size. It's clear all the way through, and it will fuse itself to a female when it finds it, because there are many more males than there are females. The males essentially have very little role in reproduction. There was a collectible there. There's sort of 3 per chapter. They're these little shells. Nice. Eels are really cool to see. I've seen a really bright green one down in Belize once. That was neat. Eels are cool. There's not much you have to worry about in terms of your own safety around an eel. If you mess with it, it might bite you. But it's gonna keep its distance from you. Most things in the ocean will. Nice. That's awesome. I would say I've seen an octopus, but that's not entirely true. I saw a little hole in the ground once when I was... Yep, getting a phone call. I saw a little hole in the ground once when I was snorkeling in the Bahamas, and I saw the tentacles of an octopus, but not the whole thing. Give me just a minute, I'll be right back in terms of voice. Subway. I got you some lunch too. So you'll be home soon. Shouldn't be much traffic out right now. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. Yeah, square is the button you're going to use to interact with pretty much everything in this game, including the meditation spots, which are the shark thing that I'm sitting on now. It allows you to kind of cycle through the fish in the area so you can see what they are. The collectibles, which are shells. The little circles on the ground that are surrounded by coral, which is what cause animals like that leopard shark and this trumpet fish to spawn, and the robots. Trumpet fish are really cool. They're herbivorous. What they do is they swim around in between coral and things like that, and well, I guess they're not herbivorous in this game. And nice. Glad you got the robots. If they see a predator or that something harmful is nearby, they'll actually stop moving and float vertical because they'll try to blend in with the coral and other anemones and things like that are around. The Goliath grouper is a member of the Serranidae family. That's the grouper family. It's one of the largest groupers, if not the largest. I know a Nassau grouper is also very large. Pretty cool. I've seen one in the wild, and I've seen a few at the Atlantis Aquarium down in the Bahamas. This little turtle, hawksbill turtle. It's really, the last time I saw one of these, it was down in the Keys of Florida. It was sleeping underneath of a rock. Its eyes were closed and everything, and we snorkeled down and we're looking at it, and it slowly opened its eyes, and it was like, oh hey. It let us take a few pictures with it, and I was like, okay, I'm done. When a turtle decides it's done, it'll swim off incredibly fast. You'll never be able to catch it. And that's what happened. Likes to default to like take you to the Goliath groupers and the big fish. Kind of miss out on some of the tinier ones like this anchovy here. The trumpet fish is one of the ones that you get from the circles in the ground. This area has quite a few. Let me show you an example. I think this one might be the leopard shark. But when you first find these, you can press box near them, and you're good. It's not going to pick up. If you press box near them, it'll open up, and a new type of fish will spawn. Originally, it isn't lit up blue like this. It'll be black, but this is what you're looking for. Every area will have some. There's an achievement for finding them all. I haven't looked it up yet, but I know that there are videos out there that show you exactly where they all are. In this area, I believe there's 3, because that unlocks the trumpet fish, the leopard shark, and the hawksbill sea turtle. That's nice. Your mom got you that? That's nice. Cool. So, I believe the 3 spots in this first area are all kind of close to where you find the 3 robots. So you have an idea of what you're looking for. And then the final collectible, which I showed earlier, are these little shark statues that kind of look like a lion's body with a shark's head. And these are the meditation points, and when you press square near them, you'll sit on it, and then you can touch the touchpad, and that's what allows you to kind of look around at the different fish in the area. This is one of the coolest features in the game, if you ask me. It doesn't give you much details about the animals, like facts about them, but you can at least get the animal name, and then if you really wanted to know more, you just, you know, Wikipedia search or something. So, really cool feature. So you can see here, in the school that I'm swimming in, there's the California sheep's head, which is the red fish with the black heads, and in the same schools you'll see red fish that don't have the black stripes. The ones without the stripes are the females, and the one with the stripes are the males. You can see some fire coral here. The way you know that coral is typically fire coral, this is not always the case, but the fact that it has red, white tips on the end of the stalks. Now in some cases that just means that the coral's growing. It's just a sign of growth. But in this case, these look like fire corals, and they have what are called nematocysts. If you touch them, they'll actually sting you. Not in this game, in the real world. So we get introduced to our great white shark. He's going to be kind of a recurring character throughout the game. Now the eel you saw, I've seen one that was this color. This sort of bright green. It's called a moray eel. There's also, or moray eel, I pronounced that wrong, moray eel. There are different variants. It's the same species, but there's versions of this species that are white and black, vertical stripes, and a few other colors too. I've seen the white and black one, and the green one, but that's it. I know there's, I want to say maybe 5 different color variations. So, those are really cool to see. Typically pretty calm when you see them. If you're interested in getting the achievements for this game, one of them is for jumping out of the water like that. You just build up your speed. If you notice when you press X, you'll boost. If you time it where it's kind of like X, 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 your fins will glow gold, and you'll actually get sort of an extra boost of speed, and that'll really help the distance you get when you jump out of the water. Now it's interesting, if you look on the sea floor here, there's a lot of organisms that even when you're meditating you can't see. So here we've got a sea star. Some people might call it a starfish. That's actually not correct. It's not a fish at all. But it's a sea star. And then you've got some sea stars that look like the crown of thorns here. Now these are a real problem down in the Great Barrier Reef, and that largely have caused a lot of the corals to die. They'll eat the corals, these sea stars. We also have some sea urchins you can see here. These little black spiky things. All members of the same family actually. Those are all called echinoderms. As well as the sand dollar is another one. There's a group of species called the crinoids. Those are also echinoderms. And then you've got the brittle stars, which are kind of, they look like sea stars, but their limbs are sort of more slimy and aren't attached to the center in the same way that you see in the sea stars. Those are all members of the echinoderm family. There are times, like I've said, where you enter this sort of dream state almost. These, which you do see in the game, I believe these are actually ammonites, not nautiluses, based on the shape. They might be nautilus. Anyway, nautilus are really the only member of species like that that are still alive. Almost look like a squid inside of a shell. Of course, the word for that is extant, E-X-T-A-N-T, being the opposite of extinct. When you interact here, I can remember exactly which organism comes out for the first one here. But once you do this, it increases the diversity of the number of organisms you'll see. There we go, it's a manta ray. Very large organisms. I've never seen one in the ocean, but they are there. The Atlanta Aquarium has one in a tank, and a whale shark for that matter. They can be found in the Bahamas and the Caribbean, but very rarely. When they're feeding, they like to sort of do backflips almost, is what it looks like. Instead of turning and swimming through the same area, they do backflips and circle back through the same area to eat krill that they missed the first time. It's really cool to watch. had the name in my head earlier, and now I can't remember what they're going to do some meditating to figure out. The fish that look like they have spikes coming out of their head. Now this area has unicorn fish, which is cool. It's actually an umbrella term. There's more than one species that classify as an umbrella fish, but they only include one in this game. The giant trevally is a member of the jack family. They're carnivorous fish. They're like, yeah, jacks. There we go. The rooster fish. Got that really cool dorsal fin on it. The spikes sticking out. Yellowtail snapper. The snapper family is Leucanidae. The way that I remember that is a little joke my friend made once. Don't you snap at me, Leucanidae. Sounds really southern. Anyway. More yellowtail snappers. There was a unicorn fish right in front of the camera there. They call it that because it has, there he is, a bone that sticks out in the front of its head. Other than that, it actually looks very similar to like a triggerfish based on the shape of the tail. If I'm not mistaken, they might actually be related to one another, the triggerfish and the unicorn fish. But I think that is going to do it for me tonight. It's almost 1 a.m. here. I know this is kind of a short stream. I only played the game for less than an hour, but anyway, I hope you like what you saw. Be sure to follow, and Cali Buds, I'll be sure to accept your friend request, and thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks. I'll be bringing the stream down now. Have a nice night.